date with everything. And Gwen, if you want to go ahead and start while we wait for Cindy to come back, do you want to go ahead and talk some about corporate membership?
I'm back. I apologize. Somehow I lost my internet connection.
Okay.
So just one real quick thing. I mentioned Sales Navigator, and if you're interested, that Sales Navigator is really a great tool for chapters to use for membership recruitment. So I really do encourage you to, get involved with that free CPE, and she's going to be sharing some ideas on how to, develop new members and kind of recruit new members. So I really do encourage you all to, from a chapter standpoint, to attend that event. So, but I wanted to introduce Gwen. Gwen is actually heading up our corporate member area this year, and so we're very excited to have her. She was our conference chair last year, for some of you that may remember, and she's been very involved with AFWA and is just a great person to help support AFWA. She's also working on setting up a new chapter in Chicago, so we're very excited about that. And Gwen, I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to you because she wants to talk briefly about what's going on with corporate membership, how corporate membership can help your chapters, and we're going to kind of tag team this a little bit. So Gwen, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy, and thanks for that overly kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here today to talk about corporate membership. We're working hard at the national level to get the word out about AFWA and the value that AFWA can bring to its members. And to that end, we would like each individual chapter to be thinking about ways that we can increase membership through corporate membership. In general, the idea that we have is we would like on the chapter level for individuals to be thinking about what are the large corporations, what are the large entities that will have accounting or financial departments in your city, in your region, who you can reach out to and talk about AFWA, what you get out of AFWA, and propose to them the value that they can get through corporate membership. AFWA offers generous corporate discounts, and it starts with just 5 members from an organization. So, for example, I'm thinking about, I heard that there's someone from Atlanta on the call. So you can think about CNN must have an accounting department, right? Who do you know who works for CNN? Are there women who you know who work for CNN who are in the accounting department sitting there without a strong female mentor? Or maybe they could be a strong female mentor to our members who are already here, and reach out to those individuals and say, hey, if there are only 5 people from your organization who join, you will all get a membership discount through the corporate membership program that we have. And of course, the more members who join from an organization, the more generous the discount is. And so we're just working, we want everybody to be thinking intentionally about what are the large organizations in the city where you are, whether you have 1 or 2 members already from those large organizations, and they could do the outreach to the person who's the decision maker at that organization. Or if you don't have anybody, if you have a large corporation, they have an accounting department or they have a finance department, they just do. So we want to be thinking about ways that we can intentionally reach out to them and talk about the benefits of AFWA.
Cindy, you're on mute.
I hate when I do that. Catherine, go to the next slide real quick, and then I want to talk just briefly about, this is something too that we want to just share, for the employer benefits. And we've got all of these slides that are available, but I think this is something that, when you're working with people trying to get their corporate membership set up, this is a great flyer that kind of helps demonstrate what the value is to employers for their corporate membership as well. And then, Catherine, if the next one is the next slide we have is our corporate membership breakdown. And you can see this is where we have several different levels where people can start to participate. And what we like to do with a corporate membership is if they think that they're going to have 15 people or how many ever they might have, then we can actually start them out at that level. And then what we do is after a year, we will analyze it and see where they're at with everything, giving the corporate firm an opportunity to build that membership. But as Gwen mentioned, you can start a corporate membership for as little as 5 people. So it's very easy to do. And especially, I always encourage everybody, like Gwen said, look around your community and see who's there. And see, what companies can you work with? Do you know somebody there? That's the best place to start, is just really looking at that and trying to see if there is a way that we can, help you with that. And as I mentioned, we've got some tools and stuff that we're working with to be able to get you lists of members that you can use to just work to recruit. And so we're really trying to kind of standardize that for the chapters to be able to work with them so they can really increase their membership as well. I want to take a pause here for just a second to see, does anybody have any questions or suggestions? Maybe you've had some success in recruiting corporate members, or if you need any questions or anything we could help with on that. Any questions? Okay, I'll keep going then. So one of the things too that we have is, with the corporate membership, we really do, through our sales navigator, we can demonstrate a list for you and get that list to you. So if you're interested in that, either, put some information on the in the chat area and just let me know what chapter you're with, and we'll see, we can start working on getting some lists for you and to be able to develop that information for you through your chapter. So the other thing too that we want to mention is we've got some new corporate partners that we're working on, and one of the big ones that we've got right now is ADP. And ADP is in just about every single market we have where we have a chapter. And they are actually going to be working directly with our chapters, because one of the things that they bring to the table is they have access to a lot of accounting and finance individuals already in your marketplace. So we need to partner with them to work. We can get them involved in your chapter, let them help you start getting events. They're also willing to probably sponsor some things for you. We'll be putting you in touch with a rep from your chapter there. They're picking kind of, was it 20? I think 20 chapters we're starting with to be able to work with to get that out. And we're very excited about that partnership, because I really think that's going to be a big benefit to our chapters and helping the chapters grow their organization. Tina, I don't know if you want to add anything at this point on that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that just in terms of terminology, we have corporate partners and we have corporate memberships. And so sometimes that's a little bit confusing, but our corporate partners are those who provide us with some financial resources. So ADP has partnered with us with financial resources, but within that corporate partnership, they also wanted to be a corporate member, which means that they will be purchasing memberships for a number of their ADP employees to be active in a variety of chapters. So, and then the distinction with a corporate membership is that these corporations aren't providing additional financial support to AFWA. They're just, they have 5 or more members who are given a discount. So they get discounted memberships as an encouragement for them to refer more people over to AFWA to be active members.
Yeah, good point, Tina. Thank you so much. So are there any questions or anything else on, how we can help? Just go through everything.
Cindy, I have a few questions.
Okay, great.
This is Melissa. So first on the ADP, I talked with, I forgot the guy's name that was kind of spearheading this from the ADP side. And I talked to him, a few months ago. And he said he would be getting back to me with, who they would be assigning as the rep or the person for the Atlanta chapter. And I've reached back out to him twice to ask if that had been decided yet. And I never have gotten a follow-up response. So I didn't know if it was just because it was still in the works and they were just trying to wait to get everything and they just hadn't responded. But I am interested to find out who that is and start making that contact and building that relationship to see where, that will take us and help us for the Atlanta chapter. So if you can let me know about that, that'd be great.
Good question, Melissa. So they're in the process of finalizing that list right now. We're kind of going back and forth and trying to, make sure who they're putting in place for each chapter, because we want to make sure that the chapters that they're starting with are chapters that are really excited about growing, and we want to be honest with them and saying, hey, this is a real active chapter, this is a developing chapter. So just to really try to be upfront with them. And so Tina and I actually, she sent me an email this morning on it, so we're hoping to get back to them today and kind of finalize that list with them to be able to move that forward quickly. So I know they're anxious to get started as well, and really working with us to try to promote AFWA. So, because like, for example, they had an event, and I don't know if you had a chance to all sit in on it or not, but Wendy Hall served on a panel last week, and it was in front of 1,300 people. So that's very exciting for us to be able to get our name out, to be able to let people know that we're involved with them, and being able to, get the word out of who, people, to get them started talking about AFWA and get that involved. So we'll work with you, and I'll make sure, Melissa, I'll let Dennis know. His name is Dennis Mayer, and I'll let him know that you all definitely want to be in touch with that rep in their area. So, and if you know a rep in the area already, feel free to reach out to that one. And Chris, we're finalizing. Chris had a question about finalizing, which 20 chapters. We're finalizing that list right now, but that's not to say that if you're not on that initial 20 chapter list, that I still encourage you to reach out to your reach out to your ADP rep that's in your area. One, get them to become a member, and say, hey, we've got this great new partnership. So it's a way to bring them in as well. So we'll be letting the chapters know. And like I said, I don't have that list in front of me, so I don't know exactly, but we'll be finalizing that here within the next couple of days, right, Tina?
Yeah. Do we have the ADP corporate membership discount code set up yet? I was just going to look, but I haven't gotten there yet.
You mean for the ADP employees that want to join?
Yeah, so for instance, if someone in a locality that's not like on the first phase of ADP, reaches out and can get an ADP rep to join, they would still be eligible for that discount.
Yeah, Catherine, do you know what that is offhand?
I don't see one up yet, so it looks like we need to create one.
And it's probably something very simple, like,
I don't think it's been created yet, Cindy.
What's that?
I don't think it's been made yet.
Yeah.
I thought we did. So we'll follow up on it.
Yeah, let's just
kinda-
make sure we get that up there, and that way, anybody who wants to use it can use it.
Right, right. Yeah, we'll get it up as soon as we can. So we'll try to see if we can communicate that to everybody on the call today too. And then Ellie had a question. Ellie, what's your question, please?
So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying about 80 p. So if we know the 80 people in our area, it's fine to reach out to them and say, that ADP has this great partnership and we want to get going on it. But if we don't know them, you are going to be providing us contact information, some people with ADP in our area. It's just not quite ready yet.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. And I really do encourage you to, like I said, look around your community and see, what big corporations are in your area. Because like Gwen mentioned earlier, more than likely, like, for example, Melissa in Atlanta, there's probably, in CNN, there's a big group there that has an accounting department. So kind of think about that and then put that, start creating your own chapter recruitment list. And, if you want to share that with us, we're happy then to do some follow-up recruitment. And because we're trying to build that recruitment list as well. And then we can help put out, promotions periodically to that list of people that we're trying to get as members. So we're trying to build that list. So feel free to share that with us and we can help then communicate with those people in your area. But we need names and email addresses to be able to do that. And that's where I think you all can really help us from the headquarters standpoint to be able to get more members within your organization. Linda, you had a question.
If there's a corporate headquarters office in our area that has branches in a variety of other places, are you saying that you'd prefer that it be a headquarters to headquarters? That is, that we refer it to AFWA headquarters for recruitment?
No, not at all. We want you to reach out because we think membership is local. If you've got an office in your area that is potentially a corporate member, they could potentially become a corporate member across the whole country, but it may have started in your area there. So that's where I think we want the locals to really help with this. And then, but what I'm saying is, if you have some names of individuals that you want to add to our national recruitment list, that we'd be happy to put them on there to try to help you get them as members. So that we can send out periodic information saying, hey, we want you to join AFWA, here's why you should join. That's where I think we can help the chapters to be able to do some of that marketing to those individuals, because you all can give us the names, do the contact, send some personal emails, because the reason most people join is because somebody asked them. So I think that's really helpful, and being able to communicate that to a wide group of people in your area it would be really beneficial for the chapter. And that's where I think we can partner together to help the local chapter, if that makes sense.
Yeah, could I just also add something too, is that when you go on our website and you see membership at the top and drop down, you'll see corporate membership as a category. And when you click on that, it brings up the corporate membership page. In a blue box, it says view corporate members. So you can actually open that up and view the corporate members that are already set up with discount codes. So for instance, in the DC chapter, we have many members who are from Kpmg through a corporate membership, but any Kpmg employee throughout the United States could use the same discount code and receive a discount, even if they're just one person from their local office that joins your chapter. So one way that you may want to kind of prospect for your area is to, do a quick review of the corporate member codes that we already have set up to see if any of those entities are already in your city. And then you can just reach out to them, letting them know that it's already there for them and the benefit that that is for them.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good point, Tina. Thank you.
Can I add one more thing?
Yep, go ahead.
On that one slide that you had, the bottom category was affinity partners. And ADP is actually an affinity partner. I mean, the people who would be joining our chapters are not, your traditional accountant or finance person. They're people that work with accountants and work with finance people. And so think about that a little bit too. If there are, companies whose bread and butter is the finance or the accounting industries, they may also be interested in membership in AFWA as an affinity member. And we can do the same thing with them in terms of setting up corporate membership codes. Sort of like they want to meet accountants so that you'll know that they have goods and services that, might be of interest to you and your business. And that would be sort of their motivation to getting in front of you. And one of the things Cindy touched on is that ADP they have extensive educational resources, and their members will probably be eager, to get in front of you and provide, CPE caliber education for your chapters, just as they are with national, through our webinars.
Yeah, great, thank you, Tina. And just to clarify, Chris, and I'll get to you just a second. I know you got a question, so I'll be with you in a minute. But just to clarify, and I know that it's a little bit confusing because, like Tina mentioned, we've got corporate members, we've got corporate partners, and there's both affinity partners and affiliate members. So I think what you were referring to, Tina, was affiliate members. So our affinity partners are somebody that can provide non-dues revenue to the chapter or to the national organization, whereas the affiliate members are those individuals that share some type of a relationship with our accounting and finance members that, for example, ADP is, they're actually all of them. So they're a good example. But as an affiliate member, they have reps in the area. They're not actively involved in accounting or finance, but they're connected to our industry. And that's a good way to kind of define affiliate members. So look around in your community again and see what are those businesses that are connected, in the area. So, we've got Robert Half as another big partner of ours. And so there's a lot of Robert Half offices in each of the communities. Make sure that you've got people involved with them, and they do have a corporate membership already. So they can actually get that corporate discount code. And so it's a nice, easy lead for you too, to go in to talk to people to say, hey, we'd love you to join our organization. And oh, by the way, we already have your company set up as a corporate company. So we'd love to have you, you can already get a discount on our dues through your corporate firm. So that, I think, is beneficial when you're trying to do some recruitment, because if you can give somebody a discount, sometimes they're more apt to join. Chris, you had a question. I've been waiting patiently. Thank you.
I'm wondering, for those corporate member partners that have been around for a while, and in my case, I'm specifically talking about Koch Industries. Do we have, on the national level, have y'all established a contact? Because that, while it is a great source of members for the chapter, in our case, it's been dwindling because of, things that have kind of gone on over the last, 20 years. And so to kind of reactivate that surge and that interest, I'm wondering if there are relationships on the national end or that have been established outside of the chapter, because that we're struggling at the chapter level. But I know, they have offices in Houston, they have offices in Tulsa, and I don't know where else they are. I'm sure they probably have something in Atlanta, probably under their Georgia Pacific division. So getting all of that coordinated has always kind of been difficult at best. And that's where Wichita itself is struggling with that. And so I'm wondering what national, if anything, has to assist us get that back and rolling positively.
Yeah, and that's a great area where I think we can actually step in and facilitate some of that contact, Chris. So let's talk offline, and I'll see if we can put you in touch with somebody from Cook so that we can, or Coke, so we can, because they are a corporate partner. So, let's get you in touch with the primary person, and then we can go from there and try to help expand that out into other areas. So, that's a great point. Thank you.
Can I piggyback onto that question?
Yeah.
Chris is right. Georgia Pacific is here, and they are a company of one of the Coke companies. Do you know if that Coke membership extends to their subsidiary companies like Georgia Pacific or not?
Melissa, I'll be right up front with you. We haven't addressed that, but as long as they are a corporate member, I don't see why we couldn't do that. Okay.
So, yeah, so those are the kinds of things that I think would be very helpful to know as we're going out, if you got that Coke Industries, but if it does extend to any of their subsidiary companies, listing what those are, that we could potentially reach out to, because there'd be a ton of them in Georgia Pacific. It's huge here.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't see any reason why we couldn't extend that. And I think we probably just would need to set up a code for that particular company. I just was looking to, they're not on this, but I don't see them. Hold on a second here. No, it's just, so for something like that, that would be just a matter of getting that set up for them. And I'll work on that, and I'll be in touch with you on that too, Melissa.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else have anything else that they want to go over? Gwen, I think you're still on. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, or just anything we can help with? Oh, Linda's got a question, sorry.
Thank you. I realize this is chapter chat, but in another national organization that I work with, we've come to realize that our members at large members are a strong growth area. And I'm thinking of corporate potential members who might qualify under a corporate membership for the discount and do not have a local unit. What kind of outreach is being thought of or should be thought of to recruit in those areas?
Well, when we have different groups like that, we're trying to reach out. So really what we need, Linda, would be like the names of, or some suggestions of those companies. So if there's anybody that, you have or are aware of that we need to be going after, we would love to have those names and try to reach out to work with them.
Well, I'm part of a local chapter. I'm thinking that member at large outreach might need to be a little more centralized, working off that corporate list.
I see what Linda is asking about is, for instance, with our virtual chapter now, where we just launched the virtual chapter, there might be opportunity for growth through some of our corporate member relationships, because we could offer them the virtual chapter. They don't have to be affiliated with a locality. So I think that's a really great idea. I hadn't really thought about that. Jennifer Leger, who's on this call, is actually one of the people who's heading up that virtual chapter. So I'm sure the wheels in her head are starting to go around. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's a great idea.
It is. That's a great idea, and we'd love to reach out. And again, too, like I said, if you there's some specific ones that we can target, by all means, just drop us the name, and we'll be happy to look at it that as well. I guess when you think of what going out after a corporate member, what can we provide from AFWA National that might help you? What would you need that would make this easier for you? Melissa?
Going back to, well, KPMG, I know that there's a big KPMG office here in Atlanta, but I had at one time tried to reach out to someone and I couldn't get anywhere, in that office. I couldn't get any momentum going. I think if there's a way that, a KPMG member, like from the DC chapter that's very involved, could help to reach out to someone that they know in the Atlanta office, I think them hearing about how beneficial AFWA has been to them would maybe spring a little more momentum of getting somewhere on that for the Atlanta chapter or for other chapters where there's offices like that. So I think when you have a large corporate presence, that corporation is national and has offices everywhere, to look at where all they have offices in other chapters and help those chapters make those contacts. I think that would be very, very beneficial.
That's a great idea, Melissa. And Tina, we can talk a little bit more about that, because I think that is something that would be really very, very helpful. Because that's, I think, sometimes the hardest thing is how do you get your foot in the door? That's the biggest challenge. Linda, you had a question?
Not a question, but basically just reframing and following up on what Melissa said. A networking introduction. You said a while back, people join because they're asked. And so we need to have those one-on-one kind of conversations that work their way down to the local level if we want to encourage chapter affiliations or to individual members where there isn't a local chapter to connect with. But just, that emailed networking or that telephoned networking introduction.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gwen, is there anything you want to add to that? Or I know your group is working on some different areas as it pertains to this, but that I think is a good area where we could maybe focus a little bit more on as well. What are your thoughts?
Can you just ask that question one more time?
So what I think what we're trying to say is taking our existing corporate members, and how do we get those corporate members that we already have to reach out into other areas? So for example, KPMG is pretty big in DC. How do we get them to contact their counterparts in Atlanta or Denver or wherever they have offices? How do we get those corporate members to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question that we've been thinking about a lot in the corporate membership group. And I think it is, again, something that needs to be done on the individual basis. So as you know, Cindy, we're working on creating, I hate to use the word pyramid, but basically a communication that our members will put on LinkedIn that says something like, I get X out of AFWA, and you, like a general communication that applies to everybody, like AFWA offers networking, continuing education, blah, 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 right? And then individual members will post that, and that with something that says that's specific to them. I love AFWA because I met Tina, and you should think about joining AFWA too, and then name like 2 or 3 women in their network who are not already in AFWA. So like tagging in LinkedIn somebody who's helped them and been beneficial to them along the way in AFWA, but then also reaching out. So maybe we could do something or specifically ask those women who are corporate members if they'd be comfortable saying, you know, to all my, and then tag in all my KPMG women, talk to me about AFWA, and we have a corporate membership or something like. So we're in the process of designing that communication and what it will look like. But I'm such a firm believer in, we have such limited time, right? Like the 24 hours that are in my day, every minute is scheduled between my personal life and my professional life. And I don't want to spend 1 minute doing something that isn't helpful to my career or that I get a lot of personal enjoyment out of. And I think that people are so much more willing to respond to someone who they value in their network, talking about why this is a worthwhile endeavor, than some corporate communication from HR saying, hey, we paid for 6 memberships in AFWA, go try it out.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point. So, and I know your group is working really hard on that. And so I think there'll be more to come in this area where we can actually help the chapters a little bit more. And so Gwen, thank you so much for sharing all of that with everybody. And, you know, and I know Gwen needs some help. So if any of you want to join her committee, I'm sure she could use some extra hands. So
yeah, just, we can always use extra hands. Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, write your name in the chat area, and we'd love to. No, so seriously, this is a tough issue, and we do need as many people helping on it as possible. So if anybody is interested, we would, like I said, just, you know, reach out to Gwen or me, or put your name in the chat, and we'd love to add you to that group to work on this area, because what the work we're doing in this area will truly benefit the chapters as well. So it'll be a way for you to be able to take that back to your chapter as well. So we hope some of you will help with that as well. So anything else then? Is there, I mean, does anybody have anything else that they would like to discuss or bring up? I want to leave this open too, just for some general discussion for chapters. So are there any areas outside of the corporate membership or anything that we can help with, or if there's anybody on the call that wants to share some things with us? Is there anything we can help with, or do you need any help with anything that you want to ask others that are on the call today? Everything's going great in the chapters, and I know everybody has some questions. Everybody's just being shy and quiet today. But
I have several questions, but I don't want to monopolize the time. I want to make sure other people have opportunities, but I'll ask some questions just because other people could be thinking the same things. But
great.
So I know that there's been some discussion about the 12 CPE that's free to members, and whether or not that will be offered as a, you know, with a price of the, you know, registration fee for non-members. Is that something that's still being looked at?
Yeah, it is, Melissa. And right now, you know, in trying to get them up and running, they are just specifically for the members, because we want to project that member benefit. But we are looking at the possibility of setting up a non-member fee for those. So right now, we're just trying to get the 12 free set up and for members only, but it is being discussed, yes.
Okay. just from my perspective, I think if we could show non-members what kind of caliber of CPE that we are going to be giving, that would be a benefit to them for free, that they would, be more inclined to join. When you don't know what that really is, what the CPE is that's being offered, you don't really know if that's something that's that much of a benefit or not. So I just think it might be helpful as a little bit of a recruiting.
That's a good point. Thanks, Melissa.
Cindy,
Chris?
just to piggyback on that a little bit, it would be easier, especially if we had a value to attach to that, because then not only, are you showing them the quality of the CPE, but you're giving them an actual savings
Right.
Yeah.
to balance against that.
Right.
Okay. I know Catherine, you and I can talk a little bit more offline, but I know Catherine and I have been working on moving in that direction. So we'll see what we can do about expediting that as well. All right, anybody have anything else? Ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. And I'm very excited about everything going on at AFWA. And Tina, do you want to offer any closing remarks as our president?
Well, I'm going to just make very specific on the Kpmg. I'm happy to, if your chapter wants a connection, go ahead and email me and I will try to work it through, just through my relationships with the DC chapter members. They have something called the Kpmg Organization of Women. They call it Kpmg Network of Women. And those are at all of their offices. So they could very well have their women's group, that's overlapping in your region. And, the two groups, coming together could actually be beneficial or some overlap. So feel free to reach out to me if you have Kpmg in your town, and I will do the best I can to try to connect you with someone there through our DC connections. But I appreciate everyone being here, and I think we had some great questions and ideas today. So I appreciate that.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate you being here, and we hope to see you in April on the 27th. So thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.